Hello, this lesson is about solving polynomial inequalities. I have x cubed plus 3x squared minus 6x minus 8. And this is larger than 0. So how to find the x such that this inequality is true? So the first method is to graph it. Because this is a cubic equation, it's easier to use a graphing calculator. Usually in the textbook, a common graphing calculator is Texas Instrument Model 83. But you can also use other ways to graph it. One common software is Desmos. You can use Desmos graphing calculator. You just type the polynomial and you have the graph. Now, the result of using a graphing calculator to graph the left-hand side is something like this. And this is x, and y. And the graph looks like this. And from the graphing calculator, you get -4 here, -1, and 2. All right. The inequality is larger than 0, which means positive. The graph, the positive part of the graph is this part. And this part. Therefore, the answer is obviously x is between -4 and 1, and x is more than 2. So you write your answer. Let me see. I can push this a little bit up. So from -4 to -1 is your x. So from -4 to -1, that's your answer. And you have another part of the answer which is larger than 2. So x is. So these are my answers. So this is one way of answering an inequality. You just use a graphing calculator. I will give you another example, and there is another way of getting the answer. So let me erase everything. The second example, is in the factored form. The polynomial is in the factored form. And I want this polynomial to be less than or equal to 0. There is another way other than using graphing calculator if the polynomial is in factored form. Let's find the x-intercept. It's quite easy. So let this part be 0 and find the x-intercept. So the x-intercept is this equals 0, this bracket equals 0, this bracket equals 0, and this bracket equals 0. So the x-intercepts are, from this is 1 over 2, and from this bracket x-intercept is negative 2, and from this bracket x is 1. Now, what you do is draw a number line. And mark down the 3 x-intercepts. 1, 1/2, negative 2. Now, look at this. If you expand this, you get x cubed. 2x cubed. And 2x cubed is positive. So this is how you do it. You mark down positive, and you alternate positive, negative, positive, negative. Just alternate. Look at the inequality. You want less than 0, which means negative. So you want negative part. These two parts, these two intervals are your answer. So your answer is x is less than negative 2. X is between 1/2 and 1. The original inequality has an equal sign. That means you not only have this inequality answer, you have equal as well. So that's it. That's your answer. This method is called Sign diagram. Sign diagram. Let me make a summary of today's lesson. If the given polynomial is not in the factored form, you just use a graphing calculator to find the answer. If the given polynomial is in factored form, you find the zeros and use a number line, mark down the zeros, and you mark down positive, negative, alternatively. And if the question wants larger than 0, then the positive interval is your answer. And if the inequality is less than 0, then the negative interval is your answer. So that's it for today's lesson. I will have a continuation of this inequality lesson from a grade 11 textbook. So that will be the next lesson. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.